which is a whole nother subject that I want to touch on, is in getting to the practical everyday life, the woman in the ghetto, the guy who goes to work every day on the subway, etc. What would you, and I'd like each of you to answer this question, what would you say to that person who is struggling on a day-to-day basis with money, with kids, with perhaps difficult relationships? You know, they could be living in Harlem, they could be living in a gated community in Aspen. It really, that piece of it really doesn't matter because it's, you know, it comes from another place. What's the process of getting to the place of trust? What is the process of getting out of the mass consciousness of CD, of controlled drama, into, from fear into abundance? What is that process? Because right now, particularly in this country, there are about 6 belief systems, all of which are vying for America's soul. We're becoming more polarized, more vociferous. There's a lot of more ethnic strife going on in the controlled drama realm, but then there are others who are moving into the VR 4+ too. But the mass consciousness is still over here. How can we address that at that level, the everyday level, working day level?
When you find yourself struggling to accomplish something that doesn't seem to be happening, just stop and ask yourself, what do I need to be doing to be fully energized and to feel effective? Because nothing gets done in the unpleasant modes. You cannot accomplish your tasks, and you might as well not use up your energy in it. Hopefully, understanding how energy operates in each of us is a dynamic energy system, and we are also a chooser, and we're each of us is unique, and we are operating on synergy or information and energy flow from the unified field, which is like an ocean that we're fish swimming in. It's around us. It's all, it's available, and we communicate in reality perfectly. Decoding that signal is literally digitized, alphanumeric system. But it's people can just simply stop. That's the only solution. Then it would be helpful, and that's what we're trying to do in our own ways, is...
Does this mean go in, excuse me for interrupting, but does this mean going into silence? Does this mean which the ancient masters of many spiritual theology recommended and still recommend, is go into silence? Is that what you're talking about, or do you think there's a shortcut here?
They're at a certain energy level within virtual reality energy level, not when you're just having a joke or whatever and you're seldom in that territory. I have spent a year living in that territory so that I could describe the actual operations of how everything works and, you know, flesh it out for people to be aware that they do have this choice, and it's a choice each being gets to make for him or herself, and no one else can make it for him. And what we need to do is become aware and set up systems for people who are choosing VR. Because when you choose VR, you become a win-win solution, and the problems are all in CD mode, and the solutions are all in VR.
Well, and that's what Einstein said. He said you cannot create the solution to in the same consciousness that the problem was created in.
Right.
You cannot do it. Yeah. And that's, we've got 1 foot over here. I mean, I feel like in my work I have 1 foot over here in VR 4+, and I've got another foot over here in controlled drama, because so much of what's around me is in controlled drama. And I think a lot of people are in that transition zone. We are in a transition. I think you were saying that we spend perhaps 1/4 of our lives in VR. And that would be, I'm supposing, when you're in laughter or you're in fun. You're
in sleeping, or in a good relationship, a loving relationship, or whatever turns you on, literally turns you on. The experience of being turned on is being fully energized, and that's the basic state, and your birthright in virtual reality.
And 3/4 of our life is spent in controlled drama and stress and
and
all the rest
unreality.
Of it. Unreality.
The unreal modes, I call them projection and simulation. And so it's helpful to understand, first of all, how they work, because now we don't have to spend a whole lifetime coming to the answers. If I understood how everything worked, what would I be choosing to do now? What would I do different?
Exactly.
And because this is complete, it gives us answers. We go back and plug the answers in. We know where we're going to end up. We know now. We can describe it. And so then we can take a step in the path toward that, and we will change our systems to make it easier for people to do that, of course, as soon as we realize that that's what our choice is. And everyone would choose it.
I'd like to get back to if you designed a culture that was living in VR4, what would it look like? And I'd like to get back to that in a minute. I want to ask Connie, you've had some experiences in the way you live your life of actually having, by trusting that where you are guided through your own higher knowings, that things have usually worked out just perfectly for you. Why don't you give us an example of a story of that?
Well, when you said what advice would I give people who are enmeshed in CD and lizard modes at this point, once they understand that there are choices, that is to choose to focus on the beauty and the love and the balance, and that's what I do at this point. I look over the shoulder of the collapse of these systems. I don't sit and watch the news on television and get all enmeshed in all the horrible things that are going on, because I know there's a beautiful, totally loving world coming, and I'm walking on the heart line. So my son, when he told me he wanted to drop out of first grade, I had enough information, and I'm talking about concrete information. This is a loving universe. You have come here with a gift, and the whole universe will show up to allow you and to nurture you and to bring that gift of yours. Not what the world wants you to, the rest of the world wants you to be, or that you should be, or that, you know, so that you can get a job when you grow up. Whatever. I had enough information that when he said, "Mom, my feelings tell me I don't belong here," I said, "I understand." And he dropped out of first grade, and he was out of school for 2 years, and he educated himself. He wasn't ready to be educated formally, and I wasn't going to cram it down his throat, because I know from hanging out with the Native American people that the children, know. You know, they don't shove a child in a certain direction. They wait and watch that child. Okay, oh, he's going to do this, or she's going to do that, and then they bring it forward. So I had enough information that I could say, we don't have to show up for this system. There's another way of doing it. And my son took my hand and led me into the unknown. Okay, Mom, walk your talk. And he's doing it again. He went into an experiential school for 2 years, and he's now done. Mom, I'm out. Let me do it myself, please. And we are going to support him in this. So he will not go to 5th grade probably next year. And, you know, maybe he'll touch base with the school system again somewhere along the line. But if he doesn't, I don't care. And besides, I feel that our school system at this point closes more doors than it opens. You know, by all of its techniques basically negate our knowing. I mean, this one of the Native American elders said, we are born knowing everything, and we narrow it down to what we can see and hear and read and write and prove.